So, we got the final report on the Mueller report. The full report hasn't been released yet. I hope it will be in the near future. But we have the summary of the final report, and what we know as a matter of fact is they found no evidence of collusion, and there will be no more indictments. So, that's a pretty big deal. It certainly vindicates Trump in the sense that the most extreme conspiracy theory against him of him as some sort of Manchurian candidate is just fundamentally untrue. I told you guys it was untrue. It wasn't that hard to find out that that was the truth. But now Donald Trump comes out, and of course he's going to take his victory lap because he was vindicated. So here he is, then watch, and then we'll talk about it.
So after a long look, after a long investigation, after so many people have been so badly hurt, after not looking at the other side, where a lot of bad things happened, a lot of horrible things happened, a lot of very bad things happened for our country. It was just announced there was no collusion with Russia, the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There was no collusion with Russia. There was no obstruction, and none whatsoever. And it was a complete and total exoneration. It's a shame that our country had to go through this. To be honest, it's a shame that your president has had to go through this before I even got elected. It began. And it began illegally. And hopefully somebody's going to look at the other side. This was an illegal takedown that failed. And hopefully somebody's going to be looking at the other side. So it's complete exoneration, no collusion, no obstruction. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, to be crystal clear, the report actually doesn't say there's no exoneration. The report says there's no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Now, literally, in reality, that exonerates him on that point. Literally. If you're saying there's no evidence, so I can't go after him for this, then what you're saying is he's exonerated. Basically, they're trying to walk a fine line where they say, hey, maybe it's true, we just don't have the evidence. Well, no, lack of evidence means it's not true, because from a legal perspective, there's no way you're going to nab him on it. So, people are going to give Trump shit for it exonerates point. But the reality is, if there's no evidence for it, and you can't go after him with indictment or recommending impeachment or something, then yeah. Like, what else do you want to call that? You want to come up with a new word for it? Fine, be my guest, go ahead. But this is so frustrating because, again, he's doing a legitimate victory lap here. Like, why not? If the media was hyper-focused on the emoluments cases against Trump, he can't do what he just did there. And if he did what he just did, it'd be total lies, and you could easily pick it apart 1,000 different ways. Because on emoluments, you have 2 court cases that have proceeded because it's true that he's taken money from Saudi Arabia and Israel, among many other countries, and he's doing their bidding, by the way. Not including Russia, by the way. Literally not including Russia. The policies are in the opposite direction on Russia. But, he took hundreds of thousands of dollars from Saudi Arabia at his hotel in Washington, D.C., and then he does favors for them, gives them a multi-billion-dollar weapons deal, and allows them to fucking do genocide in Yemen, and looks the other way as they massacre Khashoggi. So, there's no way he could wiggle his way out and do a victory lap on emoluments, because he's wrong on emoluments. There's no way he could wiggle his way out if the media was hyper-focusing on the fact that this guy literally committed fraud with Trump University, because he did. He had to pay money on that front. There was a giant fine he had to pay. There's no way he could wiggle out with basically the Southern District of New York, which is going after all these financial crimes. They're totally right about all those crimes. There's so much evidence on that front, which is why I predicted Trump will be indicted when he's no longer president, because that's definitely going to happen because they have so much evidence on legit crimes he committed. But he can't wiggle his way out of that because all that's true. But when the media hyper-focused on, oh my God, Vladimir Putin, collusion, he's able to do the victory lap. And listen, it is true. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's all laid out in front of you clear as day. It is true that the media hyper-focused on that because it did give them an excuse for explaining why Hillary Clinton and the Democrats lost in 2016. It did. It gave them an excuse. Oh no, it's not that Hillary Clinton was a uniquely horrible candidate and people didn't like her or what she stood for in her neoliberal garbage centrism. It's not that, no. It has to be. The only way this wonderful country can elect such an evil dingbat like Donald Trump, as if there was some sort of foreign interference that was directly helping him and turn the election over and you blame the Russians. Yes. It's such a preposterous notion. And all of us called it out from day one. All of us who knew a thing or two about politics and what was going on in this country called it out from day one. Because, by the way, let's pause for a second and say, what if, now there wasn't no collusion between Trump and Russia, so they didn't talk about it. But what if it was Russia who gave Julian Assange, the emails, and then we learned all the dirt about Hillary Clinton in those emails? You know what my response to that is? Whoop-de-doo. Now, why is my response like that? Because you learn things we should have learned. We learned about the DNC rigging the primary against Bernie Sanders. We learned about Donna Brazile giving Hillary Clinton questions before the debates. We learned about Hillary giving speeches where she says, we need totally free and open trade borders, which is basically like NAFTA on steroids. She says, there's a real problem in this country with this bigotry against the rich and the top 1%. Yeah, we learned about her saying, I have public positions and private positions. Now, nobody in the media, nobody can tell you with a straight face, the American public had no business knowing all those things that they should have known. They can't tell you that. So what do? Deflect. How do you deflect? Don't talk about the substance of the leaks. Talk about maybe who did the leaks. Oh my God, Russia. Oh my God, Russia. It's got to be Russia. Russia swung the election. If only we knew less about Hillary Clinton and what she was for, then maybe Hillary could have won. Quite an argument you got there. Quite an argument. So it's always been overhyped because it is a deflection from the 2016 election loss for the Democrats. And it allows the Democrats to go, the corporate Democrats to go, who, us? Oh, no. We don't need to reform. Because the reason why Trump won is because all of his voters are deplorables, so they're all bad people, so we don't need to get their vote anyway. That's their fault. It's on them. We did nothing wrong. We're precious. We're special. They're all evil. And also because, Vladimir Putin gave him the election. So those are the only reasons we lost. They're all deplorables, and Vladimir Putin handed him the election anyway. So our beloved Hillary Clinton and our beloved corporate Democrats did nothing wrong in any step of the way, ever. And so when the new left is rising up and saying, no, you're wrong, we're doing a progressive takeover of the party, and we're going to make sure we have candidates who support Medicare for all, free college, living wage, so on and so forth, they get to turn around and go, no, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to take over the party. We don't need to go in a different direction. That direction is going to be bad. Our direction is totally correct, because I promise you, the only reason we lost is not because we suck as candidates and we're totally unappealing, but it honestly is because Vladimir Putin gave it to Donald Trump because there was collusion, and obviously his voters are deplorables anyway, so they're bad people, so it's not our fault, it's on them. Now do you see? Now again, this doesn't take away in any way, shape, or form from Donald Trump being a corrupt politician. He is that. It doesn't take away in any way, shape, or form from him being a fraud. He is that. And committing fraud, he did that. It doesn't take away in any way from all the things you can go after Trump for that are real as a heart attack, including financial crimes, including the horrible policies he's done. All that is real. But you know what else is real? The dynamic I just explained. So, shame on pretty much all the media, but particularly CNN and MSNBC on this front, for going all in on an extreme conspiracy theory and the most insane interpretation of that conspiracy theory, because it was just totally disproven. And again, before anybody says, oh my God, but they didn't release the whole report yet, Kyle, how can you say that? The whole ballgame is no further indictments, no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion, and no recommendation of impeachment. That's the whole ballgame. Because if their main claim was correct, at the very least they would have tried to recommend impeachment. But some say, hey, no, you could even indict. You could indict a sitting president. So they would have tried to indict Trump over this. Not happening. So now they can move the goalposts. Fine, move the goalposts, but we see what you're doing. You're moving the goalposts. It's not like you get to say, oh no, I'm still right. No, you're wrong. Your original claim was totally disproven. Now go ahead and move the goalposts, but we're going to acknowledge that you're moving the goalposts. So, anyway, we warned you. Don't say we didn't warn you. We were crystal clear as to how you oppose Trump, how you should oppose Trump from day one, and they didn't listen to us.